I've been feeling so small. Watch the clock ticking off the wall.
Welcome to Ian HRP on YouTube, and welcome to today's video, which is for the Olympus M.Zuiko Pro MC-20 2x teleconverter. In today's video then we will be looking at this, the MC-20 M.Zuiko Pro, which is a 2x teleconverter for the Olympus Micro Four Thirds system. Will work with just two lenses, which are the 40-150 Pro lens and also the 300 Pro lens. Those are the only two you can work it with officially. You can also put it on other lenses, particularly macro, which I will show you later, if you want a little workaround, which works quite well. I'll show you that later on. So a quick look at the box. It's a nice small little box. It's basically a 2x teleconverter. It doesn't say much else. In the box, I have already opened this. You do get your usual gubbings, which is these sort of things, yeah, the boring paperwork, etc. And you don't get, so basically that is the converter. This is what you get in the box. The official recommended retail price is £399. Ouch. It's a lot of money, but you will be able to get some deals. I managed to get this for £359. I did have the Panasonic 100-400 lens for the Micro Four Thirds, which I brought for the reach, etc. It got good reviews. It just did not work for me. For my motorsport photography, I found the focusing, you had to twist focus. I found that particularly slow and tight. It just didn't work. It's a very nice lens for wildlife photography, etc. It works really nice. For my main use, it just didn't work for what I wanted it to. So I sold that, used some of the money from that to buy this. So this now goes on my 40-150 lens, which gives me the equivalent, and I will stress equivalent because I was looking at some of the comments on some of my previous videos and people say, that doesn't give you a 300mm lens, blah, blah, blah. Equivalent full frame reach. This turns the 40-150 to a 80-300 f5.6 lens, which that extra reach for motorsport is very useful indeed, and also wildlife as well. It's really nice build quality. It's fully weather sealed, so it doesn't affect your weather sealing at all. This front, which is slightly protruding, that goes into the front of the lens, and then this fits on the camera itself. So let me grab a lens and I will show you what it looks like on the lens itself. So to quickly compare the MC-14, which is this one here, so this is a 1.4 teleconverter, to the MC-20, it is probably about half the size. It's probably double the size actually. If I just take the lens caps off, so you can see the size difference. It's probably about double the size compared to the MC-14. So it doesn't add too much bulk to the camera at all, and it fits on nicely. So this is the 40-150 Pro lens, which is my favourite lens ever. I absolutely adore this lens. I'll just take the lens hood off. It is such a beautiful lens. This really is the main lens that fits on my camera. At the moment I'm using the camera with a 14-40 Pro lens, but this is the one that is always on my camera. It's a very nice walk around lens for me, and when you add the converters on there, it's just even better. It's beautiful lens, one of my favourite, in fact my favourite lens I've ever brought, this one. Very nice indeed. Right, so let's show you. So you put the protruding end on the front of on the back of the lens itself, mark the catches up, which I always fail to do properly. Just put the lens cap on there. So as you can see, it adds a little bit of length, but it's not that bad. It doesn't add much weight, and it feels nice on the camera as well. One of the little options, hacks that you can do with the teleconverters, including the MC-20 and the MC-14, is you can add them to other lenses. So this is the Olympus 60mm macro lens, which is a very nice lens. It's a very nice macro lens. It works really well. But if you want to get a little bit closer, which I have been doing some extreme macro with stacking, photo stacking, etc. What you can do is add the 2x converter to the macro lens. Now, you wouldn't normally be able to do this because, as you can see, when you compare the lens, when you compare the 40 to 150, there is quite a ingression into the lens body itself, which the converter fits into. On the macro lens and most other lenses, there isn't. The glass, the back glass, is right at the edge. So what you need to do, I'm not saying I recommend you do this because it's not the official way of doing it, but it works well. If you pick up some Pixo extension tubes, and these are the ones that work best because some of the other extension tubes, the 2x and the 1.4, don't fit in very well. So the way that I work this is I have the 2 extension tubes together, so the 10mm and the 16mm. I then put the 10mm on first at the bottom onto the 2x teleconverter, and then you add the macro lens onto that, and you now have a 2x teleconverter on your macro lens. I'll show you some photos as well, but I'll just show you a quick video about how close you can get when you use this setup. Using the 2x teleconverter allows you to get extremely close to your subject. So this is a micro SD card to SD card extension, and as you can see, now normally I would do this on a focus rail, so my focus is going to be all over the place on this. But if I just very quickly move that across, you can see how close you can get into the subject that you're doing photography with or of in your macro. And then if you then put that onto a macro rail and use that very slightly and then stack the images, you can get some very nice images indeed using this converter. Now I'll just show you some quick images so you'll be able to see what you may be able to get when you're using this method, but it's a neat little trick to get you even more close in your macro photography. Looking at some of the images you can get when you use that little hack for the teleconverters, this particular image is of an eye of an insect, made up of a number of images stacked together. Not the best quality one, this one. This was a quick test I was doing, but you can see the type of detail that you can get. It is quite badly stacked, as you can see from the focus being out all over the place. Another example, this one was taken with the 2x teleconverter. This is a spider, which is made up of about 100 odd images, I believe, then stacked together. But as you can see, it picks up the hair on spiders, on insects, is just, there's so much of it. But that is a spider shot using the MC-20 and also the 2x teleconverter. And this is a beetle. Again, this one is, I think this one was with the 1.4, but it shows you the type of detail that you can get on there. And then finally, this is a spider's eyes, which is, it's just amazing. If you've never done macro, and then if you do some extreme macro as well, some of the detail you can get is just phenomenal. I will be doing a video in the near future of stacking using the Olympus camera, and also sort of going through the process of taking the images, editing the images, putting the images together in a program called Helicon 7. So I'll be doing that at some point in the future. That's one of the planned videos that I have. Right, let's now have a look at some of the images shot with the MC-20 using the 40 to 150mm lens. Let's have a look now at some images shot using the MC-20. These are on the EM1 Mark II from Olympus, and also the 40 to 150 lens. So with the 2x teleconverter, that will take you up to 300mm in focal length. So this is an image shot at 300mm, and it is at ISO 200. So as you can see, it's actually quite a nice picture of the moon, even if I do say so myself. It works well. I really like the look of that. It's nice and sharp. Just for comparison, this image was shot using the MC-14, so the 1.4 teleconverter. So as you can see, the maximum length is 210mm, and you can see how close you can get. So that's 300mm, and that is at 210. So yeah, not bad. You obviously lose some two stops of light when you've got the MC20 connected, but that doesn't really make much difference when you're shooting the moon, because it's a lot brighter than you always think it's going to be. Right, this next image, this is actually taken using an old Vivitar 400mm lens, which I converted to the Olympus mount and then put the MC20 onto that as well. So this is equivalent of 800mm. So yeah, it's a very soft lens at the best of time. It is quite noisy. I had my ISO wrong on this when I was taking the picture, but anyway, this is so that's at 800mm, and this image here is taken at 300mm, and this is cropped in. So this is the final image. This was ISO 800, and this is at 300mm. And if I just go to reset that back to its original, so there you go, that's the original image. And then if I just undo the reset, that is the edited image. Still slightly soft. I'm not quite sure I got my focus correct on there, but it gives you an idea of what you can get if you want to use this to shoot the moon. Now this poor little fella is a pig that is in, it is so muddy everywhere around here. We've had so much rain in the UK. Everywhere is like a bog, and this little poor thing is absolutely covered in mud. But this is at 300mm ISO 2000. Slightly noisy. That was probably more due to the high ISO on the camera. But it gives some nice detail on. The next set of images I wanted to show you, I wanted to give a comparison of the different reach that you will get when you've got it at its shortest focal length and then also at its furthest focal length as well. So these are all shot at ISO 200. This is the 40 to 150mm lens without any teleconverters. So this is at 40mm. That's the view that you will get, and then at 150mm, this is how close into this sign that you will get on here using just a standard lens, which is fine. It's a really nice equivalent 300mm when you factor in the crop factor compared to a full frame, so you're getting the 300mm reach on there. Now this is with the 1.4 teleconverter, so this starts at 80mm, so as you can see you're slightly closer in, and then at its full reach it's 210mm, so as you can see how close you get into this sign. And then finally this is the MC20, so the 2x teleconverter at its widest shortest focal length, so this is 56mm, and that's the view that you will get. And then 300mm, that's how close you can get to the sign. So let's have a look at the longest. That is 300mm, that's at 210, and then that is at 150. So it's not very often that you will hear people say you can use a telephoto lens as a macro lens, but with the 40 to 150mm lens you can actually, not true macro, but you can get close. It's got a very close focus and distance for the type of lens it is. So the closest you can get is 70mm, which is, so 70mm, 70 centimeters, which is about 2.3 foot, which for a lens at its full sort of standard 150mm is very close indeed. And it gives you a 1.5 magnification on the image that you're taking. So it's not true macro, it's not 1:1, but it is very reasonable indeed. So this image here is shot at 300mm. Is shot at 300mm of a cobweb with some nice rain and dew on there. And I was about 2.5 foot away from this when I took it. So it does work really well in allowing you to get very close to a subject close up as well. And also obviously when you're close up it blows the background out quite nice, even though that was at f5.6. Just a few more examples. So this image here is of just a twig with some water droplets on there. I quite like the look of that. It's slightly noisy. What are we? Yeah, ISO 2500. It was a very dull day. It wasn't the best day for shooting anywhere really. Very dull and grey skies, but it does show you how much and how close you can get with the detail as well. It's quite a nice picture. I quite like that one. With a bit of editing that might be alright. And then obviously you can use it for birds as well. So this is a little blue tit on a bird feeder and another one. And then you've got this one of another blue tit on the feeder. I also thought I would try some video using the MC-20 as well while I was photographing the moon. So I'll just quickly show you, this is the unedited version, including the audio that you can hear. I'll just turn that microphone down slightly. So this is the unedited one. So I've put together a little clip of some video of the moon. So we'll play that next, and then I'll give you my final thoughts on the Olympus MC-20. Final thoughts then on the Olympus MC-20, 2x teleconverter for the micro four thirds systems. It's really nice. I don't think you lose much in pitch quality. You obviously lose 2 stops of light, so it goes down for f2.8 on the 40 to 150 to an f5.6. But when you're going to be using this mainly outside, hopefully with some decent light, it works really nice. You don't notice, I haven't noticed much dip in pitch quality unless you really pixel peep, which, what's the point? People don't do that. Normal people don't do that. Photographers do it all the time. Normal people don't. But to double the focal length of your lens through this little accessory, it's worth it. Yes, it's expensive, but if you want to double the reach of your lens for a tiny little bit of extra weight and a little bit of extra thing to carry around with you, I think it's well worth it. It's a very nice bit of kit, as ever with Olympus. I'm a very happy Olympus user. I like the system. The EM1 Mark II is a fantastic camera, and this just adds to it. Will I get the 300 Pro lens? I would love to get the 300 Pro lens. They may come down in price, hopefully, at some point, which would then give you a 600mm lens, which is an equivalent 1200mm f8, I believe it is, which is an amazing amount of reach for such a little package. But I haven't got that lens at the moment, but for my 40 to 150 with the EM1 Mark II, this works really well. So I'm very, very happy indeed. So thank you very much for watching this video on Ian HRP on YouTube. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, give it a like, thumbs up and a share, and please do consider subscribing. I've got lots of videos coming up. Until next time, thanks for watching. Bye for now.